Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 109 of the Baschamania podcast. I am your host, Justin Basch. And today, before we get into it with our guests, Braxton Amos and Evan Henderson, real quick, this episode is sponsored by Manscaped. So, for those of you who don't know Manscaped, they sponsored our episode last week. They're back today. Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Also, chest, everything else. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. And for you guys, our listeners, we have a promo code for you. Promo code CENZO, CENZO, not CENZO, like the lady at UPS just said when I sent him coffee. Promo code CENZO, 20% off and free shipping. So go buy one of these things. These things are awesome. This is the Lawnmower 3.0. It's waterproof, has a little LED light. Bzzz. This thing is great. I've used it. I love it. I think everybody needs a trimmer in their bathroom. They also have a weed whacker, which is great for nose and ears. But this Lawnmower 3.0, nobody likes a hairy body. If you have a hairy teammate, you should buy this for them for their birthday, for Christmas, whatever. Buy it as an end-of-season gift, a postseason gift. Ladies, buy one for your boyfriend, buy one for your husband. These things are great, and they're really reasonably priced. I think they're like $60, $70, something like that, and you get 20% off and free shipping with promo code CENZO. So thank you, Manscaped, for sponsoring another episode. Grateful for these guys. These products are freaking great. We wouldn't just take a sponsorship deal with anybody. I want people involved in this podcast that I think can bring value to our listeners. And because everybody needs a trimmer in their bathroom, this thing is great. So go to manscaped.com, promo code CENZO, 20% off and free shipping. That said, now let's get our guest on the show. Also, real quick before we dive into today's show, no CENZO today. As we talked about a week ago and before, he really wants to kind of lay a little bit low leading up to the trials. So grateful for how many times he has still come on in the past month or so, but no CENZO today. He's recovering from wrestling 6 matches yesterday and preparing for the trials on Friday. So I know people are going to text and DM and where's CENZO, and that's it. He'll be back next week, I'm sure. But for now, we're rooting for him in the Olympic trials and can't wait to see how he does. Let's dive into the show for real now. So are you back in Wisconsin now?
Yeah. So Raider and I flew in this morning. Had to get up at about 3, and
3?
our flight left. Yeah, so our flight left Dallas at 6 a.m. And between like checking in early and checking out of the hotel and like the half an hour drive it is to the airport, we're like, all right, guess we're leaving at 3 a.m.
It's so funny because that's my move when I go to a wrestling tournament, not competing obviously, but like to watch or do media, whatever. I take the very first flight out the next morning. And I'm not a big partier, so a lot of times on, like, let's say a Saturday night at the NCAAs or whatever, everybody's like, all right, let's go here, let's go there. I'm like, dude, I gotta go back to the hotel. Like, I'm out of here at 4 or 5 a.m. But it's funny because sometimes I contemplate staying, like, okay, I'll stay till Sunday and maybe I can catch up with people during the day. And then it's like somebody will text you back at like 9 or 10 in the morning and they're already home. And I'm like, how fast did you just get home that you're already like into your normal routine and done? So I want to go back quickly because I definitely want to talk about yesterday and Friday, because very interesting here that you wrestled 9 matches. You qualified for both freestyle and Greco for the trials. But I want to go back just a little bit because I know a little bit about you. I believe you were injured your freshman year in high school and didn't have a freshman season. And then I think you went undefeated the next 3 years, correct?
Yeah. So
that's just wild.
Yeah.
What happened your freshman year?
So I won Fargo between 8th and freshman year. Was getting ready for Super 32, working out with WVU's RTC back when Henson and Marable were the coaches. And, I'd had issues with my knee before, but nothing like too serious. And then, like, I think it was like the last live go of practice, I went to sprawl or something and my foot caught the wrong way, and my ACL just blew out.
And what was your perspective your freshman year? Because I remember my freshman year in high school, I was an absolute punk. I think if it wasn't for wrestling keeping me diligent and kind of in a respectful mindset, no matter what you did, you're still a wrestler. You're still held to a high standard. But I knew my mentality, and it wasn't that impressive. What was your mentality through that? That I feel like a lot of times in those situations, it's either hard to overcome, or maybe it's like a pity party. Like, man, I can't believe this happened to me. Why me? That's the kind of culture we're in nowadays. And you didn't seem to have that, because to come back from that and then have an amazing next 3 years, like, what was your perspective through that and after that that helped you kind of have success after that?
Honestly, I threw a pity party for a while. I was cutting down to 82, so I was like 190 at the time. And I got all the way up to, I think, like 240.
As a
I just
freshman?
Yeah. Yeah, as a freshman in
Dang.
high school, I went from yeah, no, and it wasn't a good 240 either. It
That's
was
what I'm
just,
saying.
eating fast food and pizza every day, not worrying about how I looked or how I felt or anything like that. It was and then I think around, like, I want to say, like, Valentine's Day, I, like, just looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, What am I doing?"
Were you
Like,
single?
yeah, yeah.
So it's
I was
something.
I was
That's what every single guy in Valentine's
Yeah,
Day
no,
does.
like I got on the scale that day and it was like 245, and I just looked in the mirror. I was like, I've gained like 50 pounds. And, like,
Snuck up on you real quick.
yeah, I was like, what happened? I'm like, I feel like crap all the time. It's something needed to change. My doctor, my surgeon at the time, leading up to that, was like, you're out for Fargo. You're not doing Fargo. You're not doing anything. Um, maybe Super 32 if you're lucky. Um, I just made it my mission to make it back to Fargo. Um, and whether it was go out there and try to win, or just go out there and compete and just try it out. I was determined to make it back, and I just made it my goal to do everything in my power to do it.
And I'm sure you had times where it wasn't easy. Like, after you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, golly, I gained 50 pounds. Initially, there's always some momentum, there's adrenaline to get going, but then you stayed on that train and you continued to improve. What was the perspective to help you, where maybe after a week or a month or whatever the time frame might have been, where you kind of hit a snag in motivation or whatever it might have been? What kind of helped you through that?
A lot of it was my parents just keeping me in check. Um, just making sure that I was doing the right things, hanging around the right people, you know, making sure I'm going to physical therapy and giving it everything I had, making sure that I'm not eating, junk food. Um, and then once I got cleared to start drilling and stuff, it was a lot of it was my coaches just making sure that, I wasn't overtraining, but at the same time I wasn't taking it easy on myself. The first time that, like, I got tired from being out for, 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Um, and the by the time by the time the Fargo training camp rolled around, I was in okay shape. And the WVU, Henson and Marable sat me down and was like, listen, this isn't going to be easy. This is going to be the toughest tournament you've ever wrestled. Just be ready for it, get mentally prepared for it, because it's going to be tough. It's going to be fun when you win both, but it's going to be tough.
Right.
um I just took it to heart of, you're going to have to do tough things to have fun later on in life.
Yeah. And fast forward, what led you to signing with Wisconsin?
It there's a lot of things. It's education one of the best educations out there. Bono and Raider did great things with SCSU, with as small of resources as they had. And I thought they were going to do great things here. I still think that. We didn't have too hot of a year this year, but we had a lot of guys out, a lot of guys taking Olympic red shirts, gap years, a couple guys hurt. So it's gonna be fun to see what we can do with the resources, just the stupid amount of resources we have here, and
Yeah.
the really good guys coming in.
And I can only imagine like having those guys in the podcast and being around them at tournaments. Like they're very high energetic. They're guys that when you're around, like when I'm around Rita, I want to go hop on my bike or I want to work out or I want to do something, like
Yeah,
when you have a conversation with Bono, it's almost like instantly he takes that coach role, even just like a professional conversation or whatever it might be. So it's easy to see how excited you are for Wisconsin. I know I'm excited. I know a lot of people are excited for your college career and what you're going to do there. And before that, I mean, already you've been so highly touted, and still before even wrestling in college, you're living up to that hype. Here you go this weekend to the Last Chance, qualify in both Greco and freestyle, wrestle and win 3 matches on Friday. Then you wrestle 6 matches on Saturday, 9 matches. I'd like to say that's the most, but Mitch McKee somehow one-upped you and wrestled 9 freaking matches in one day. It's almost like he knew.
yeah, no, like I saw that and I was like I was sitting at dinner with Reader and I was like, dude, I'm beat up, I'm tired, I just want to go home. like,
After
I know I'm
Friday?
gonna be back here. No, no, no. Last night,
Oh, okay.
I was like, I just want to go home, and he goes, "Hey, we're gonna be back here on Tuesday." I'm like, "Yeah, but I want to go home right now, and we can come back on Tuesday." Like, I want to sleep in my own bed for one night, and we'll be good. And
Yeah.
he goes, "Did you realize that Mitch McKee wrestled 9 matches today?" I was like, "He wrestled how many?" And like we went through the bracket, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Like, I was feeling kind of bad for myself, taking my time getting out of the car, helping myself to like get out of like chairs. And then I read that, I was like, I'm soft. Like, Mitch did this in one day.
Well, it's funny because this sport is so humbling to everybody involved. Like, Chenzo's my guy. So, when he's texting me after the tournament saying how he wrestled 6 matches and that was the first time he wrestled 6 matches since middle school. And I'm like, I didn't realize that. So I went through and I added up everybody's matches. And I'm like, all right, I want to see every single person who qualified today, how many matches they wrestled. And I'm like, dang, there's a lot of 5s and 6s here, like more than I thought. I didn't
Yeah.
realize. And then you and Mitch were kind of at the top with Mitch wrestling 9 yesterday. And Mitch, like, to tech Pat Lugo on your 8th match of the day is just wild. That is just,
Yeah.
I think he won like 13-2 or something. But so what was the thought process behind entering both Greco and freestyle? I love, by the way, I know you retweeted it, so I know you saw it. Like, you were one of the first people to enter the Last Chance, and you entered in both right away. And I'm like, Last
Yeah.
Chance watch. Braxton is in at both freestyle and Greco. And then that kind of set the tone where everybody's like, we need you to do this all the way up until the Last Chance. I'm like, okay, I guess I can do this. I'm like on work calls and doing stuff, and I'm just like refreshing the Last Chance registrations. But so what went into going in both styles?
Um, it's just I've always done both, whether it be Fargo or Akron. Um, I didn't do both at junior trials. When the last year it was in Vegas. Um, and I regretted it. And it's my fault completely. I didn't train any freestyle leading up to that, and my parents were like, "You didn't train any freestyle. You're not doing freestyle." I was like, "All right." Um, and I mean, it made sense. I was an 18-year-old still working out in high school rooms, and I was wrestling. I was going to be wrestling 20-year-olds who had been in a college room for 2 years. That's not a good mix. Um, but I know how hard Bono and them have trained me. I knew that my body could do it. If I can do it, I'm going to do it. There's a lot of people that can't do it right now, and I just want to do it while I still can.
Yeah, and as far as because somebody tweeted me asking this, and I don't know the answer. Now that you're qualified in both, do you have to pick one for Friday, or can you wrestle both on Friday?
So, I talked to some of the people at the head table, and they said I'm good to go to do both. Um, Obviously, if I start making a run into one tournament, um, the coaches and I'll sit down and try to figure out if I'm gonna stop doing, just pull out from the other tournament or default or whatever I need to do. Um, but if it, I'm gonna go until I can't. That's plain and simple. I'm already here. I'm already this far. I might as well do both. When was the last time that someone's done both? Let
I
alone somebody that hasn't. I haven't been out of high school for more than a year.
Right. That the only I think I want to say Adam Kuhn maybe did it in 2019 at the World Team Trials, I think. But that was also when he graduated. That wasn't
Yeah,
going into college. That was coming out. So it's
right.
that wild. And the weights you're at, I mean, I follow freestyle obviously so much more than Greco, but to have guys like Snyder and Cox in the weight, what is your perspective going in? You know, I was thinking about it all morning. I'm literally sitting in church this morning thinking about nothing but the trials. I'm like, this is wrong of me that all I can think about is these tournaments. And I'm like, this is the Olympic trials is going to be so interesting because, the last chance you get guys, I think he wrestled Eric Hinckley. He's a good example. He's got some veteran level medals, I believe. And these guys want to go out. It's an opportunity to compete against some of the best in the world. I get it, but it's such a different vibe watching first round matches, second round matches like that, and now the trials where you're going in the trials and it's like Cox, Snyder, Machiavello, Kai Von Gatson. You're going against like not just veterans who have been around, but you're talking about world and Olympic medalists. What's your perspective headed in there this weekend?
Um, honestly, like Reader and I were talking about this on the layover. It as of right now, if I go in there a match, that's that's a success. I'm supposed to go there and go 0-4 right now. I think uh first round of freestyle, I think I'm supposed to pull Colin Moore. Um, he's pretty good at wrestling.
Yeah,
um,
I'd say so.
yeah. Um, right now it's looking like I'm gonna get the 6 or 7 seed in Greco and pull, one of the, I think, military WCAP guys who have been doing this, you know, since before I was in high school. Um, so yeah, it's kind of nothing to lose. You
Do you,
know, it,
do you think that's an advantage that, I got to imagine some of these guys, like on the opposite end of that, some of these guys are expected to win, and in a weight like 97, where you're going to have Snyder and Cox, both are expected to win. Neither one of them
yeah,
is expected to lose. Do you think that takes some of the pressure off you? Like, because the more guys I have on this show and girls that come on and just say they're having fun. Like CENZO, I was texting him yesterday, like he looked like he was just out there having fun. He was back to like his Penn State kind of days where he's, inside trips, his hips are strong as can be. Does that help kind of just take that, knowing that pressure's not there?
yeah, no, 100%. It's a lot easier to be the 19-year-old with nothing to lose than the 29-year-old who has bills and a family and everything else riding on how he does at the Olympic trials. You
Yep.
know, it's it's crazy. I have, the only people I have to report to are my parents and Bono and Raider. That's it.
And that's a lot more.
No sponsorship team,
Yeah.
no none of like the NYC, Sunkiss, Titan Mercury, none of them.
Yeah.
None of them picked me up, and still haven't. So until then, I'm rolling with Bono and Raider and my parents, and I'm just trying to make them proud at this point.
Yeah, and it's funny. Everybody says how chill you are and nice you are off the mat, which I believe because I've had enough opportunities to talk to guys that are like you in that sense, but it's funny to see every time I see it. Like, you're super nice, you're super chill, but you're ferocious on the mat. And I don't mean that like facetiously, like a meme or something. Like, you go out there and you tear heads off. What's the process behind being chill and calm like this and then going on the mat and flipping that switch? Does it happen gradually? Is it something that happens over time?
Yeah. You know, it's definitely an over a period of time thing. You know, I'm still the same person. I'm just a lot more focused. Um, you know, a couple weeks ago kind of is when it started. You know, if it didn't help me get ready for the last chance qualifier, then odds are I wasn't doing it. You know, I
Yeah.
missed out on a lot of just team things. You know, a lot of them got together and watched the finals. You know, I sat here and watched it at the house with a few of my roommates. Um, a lot of my friends that I've made up here wanted to go out on the weekends. Um, I got up and went and worked out and got a practice in. And it like I like I learned from the WVU coaches, when I was a freshman in high school. You're gonna have to do tough things and put yourself through tough things to get the results you want and have fun.
Yeah.
And it's tearing people's heads off. It kind of falls into the tough things you got to do to have fun.
Yeah, and it's funny because I always use the analogy of these MMA fighters who it's like, man, if I'm gonna fight, it's almost got to be emotional. I can't think about hitting someone if I'm not mad. And similarly, like wrestling and taking someone's head off, it's a lot different than punching someone in the face, but there's still that level of aggression that you have to go to that place of just complete selfishness on the mat. Even off the mat, I think wrestlers have to be some of the most selfish people around if you want success and if you want to win. And it's not a bad kind of selfish, but it is like, I'm sure when your friends are asking you to go out, there's an aspect of selfishness like, no, I'm not going because I care about me and I care about me winning. And it's
Yeah.
funny because I saw last night Don Bashada posted a tweet about a story about how you won the Flips Wrestling Essay Contest back in 2014. And I've heard this story a couple times where Jordan Burroughs read your essay, picked you as the winner, and he said, like, this kid has the mindset of an Olympic champ. So it's funny that it seems like you've had this mindset for a long time, but you continue to, at least it looks like, evolve that more and more. What's the process now of continuing to evolve your mindset? Is it just trusting parents and coaches? Is there more? Like, if someone wants to be in a better headspace, like it seems like you are, what would you tell them?
Um, I would trust my parents and coaches. But I would trust the right coaches. And I've been blessed with parents that are willing to sacrifice virtually anything for me to chase my dreams. They're right now with COVID and everything and the gap year, they're putting me up. All my bills are their bills right now. I
So you do have a
can't
sponsor.
thank them enough. Yeah. My sponsor is Tim and Anika Amos. Um, and and that was part of the conversation we had with the coaches whenever we decided to take the gap year was, hey, this is what it's going to cost. Can we do it?
Yeah.
Can we do it financially? And it was a tough conversation to have with your parents because it's a grown up conversation that most 19-year-olds don't need or don't want to have with their parents, but it
Yeah.
needed to happen. Um, yeah, and then I would say just growing up I grew up in a really really high level club in Columbus, Team Moran. Um, shout out to Coach Moran. He's probably running the camp right now. Um, but he was a big backing of, making sure that I knew that I could do high level things if I just stay focused and do the right things. Um, and Bono and Reader, still hold me to that standard of, hey, all the other guys that are taking gap years this year across America aren't going to Last Chance Qualifier. You are.
Yeah.
We're not going to train you you know, like you have 8 months to get ready for NCAA season. We're going to train you like you have 2 weeks to get ready for Last Chance. We're going to train you like you have 48 hours to get ready for the Olympic trials.
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny, changing gears a little bit, we kind of poke fun at not having a sponsor, but the reality of it is now kids your age that are coming up are super focused on social media. And you see the name, image, likeness bill that's taking effect in certain places soon. How much thought do you give to the brand side of things, where I see some that are just completely, I don't want to say oblivious to it, but it's a sacrifice for them because they don't want to get distracted. What's your perspective heading on this on the brand side of things right now?
I'm going to be the same person, whether it's someone trying to pay me a lot of money or some random person on the street. I'm going to treat, I saw a quote on the internet the other day of, I'm going to treat treat the janitor like I treat the CEO. That's,
Yeah, I love
my
that.
parents have taught me that.
And I love that because being in the business world, I've learned that I don't think I have a traditional company like some do, where you go to an office with 30 people. I've got a unique team, and I like working out of the house a lot. And for me, I know that I meet a lot of people who refer us business who aren't necessarily the owner. I'll meet someone who maybe is the lowest level at a company, but they bring us in. And I think it's so crucial. Like, I've seen the fruit from that, from doing the right thing and treating people right. I think it's so important. I'm also curious on the side of how much time or focus you give to maybe Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or trying to keep up with what you're doing. You're very good at communicating. I know you retweet a lot of the stuff that I put out with like schedules and times and trying to keep people informed, which I think is so crucial. But how much attention and focus do you give to growing your brand overall right now?
Not really, not a whole lot. I'll tweet out whatever I need to tweet out to keep people back home, and I have a lot of friends across the country. Keep them up to date on what's going on, as far as when I'm competing and what times and stuff, so they can watch. But outside of that, it's I'm 19 years old.
Yep.
I want to be able to, I don't want to have the distraction of having getting verified on Instagram or Twitter or worried about all this stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff's cool. Don't get me wrong. Like that's it's a lot of work and it's a lot of sacrifice. But I don't want to deal with it right now.
Yep.
It's I don't I can still do enough to stay relevant. Whether it's podcasts, talking to people, just answering DMs from middle school and high school kids of like, hey, what do you suggest for this? What do you suggest for that?
Yep.
Doing camps whenever I can. Just little things go a long way. You don't have to have a whole social media personality or do crazy stuff at tournaments to get your name out there. If you work hard and just pull up when it counts, I guess.
Yeah. There's no
people
doubt.
People notice.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that, especially, I ask you because it's so interesting with the name, image, likeness bill, where if NCAA athletes can monetize, I think a perspective is going to shift and different things are going to happen. But it's also just interesting to watch. Winning definitely builds such relevance. If you look at guys that have some of the biggest audiences, like a Spencer Lee, Spencer isn't the most social savvy or the guy who's going out there seeking attention. he's winning, and I think he does a good job of resharing content. And I think similarly to you, he's in tune with it, but he doesn't seem to get distracted by it. And you do have guys around you like Bono, Reader, Gross, that have a good mindset, I think, on content. And I think with that, with people around you that understand the importance of it and having a proper perspective on winning, I think that's huge, because as long as you win, you can capture relevance without, you don't have to be creating 3 posts a day to engage and capture relevance. Like you said, when you're engaging with your audience and when you're engaging with fans and you're just responding to a question, that goes so far. The people who will ask, I try to answer as many DMs as I can. I get wrestlers, other people ask me about how to start a podcast, and I try to give them high level bullet points of what to do as much as I can. And I see the gratitude. It's so rewarding. So I do think that, especially for wrestlers your age, it's going to look different to everybody what being active on social media is. And I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all rule. So it's good to hear that. Last thing I want to ask you before I let you go, a constant topic on this show is the debate of folk style versus freestyle. But for you, I want to ask you, freestyle or Greco?
In what sense? Like, which one do I like more, or?
Yeah, I mean, so some of the wrestlers we've asked, for me, I enjoy watching freestyle more than folk style. If I'm tuning into a random match, I prefer it to be for freestyle. I think a lot of the wrestlers that come on have answered in both, whether what you like to compete in more, and as a wrestler, what you enjoy watching more. So I guess for you, both, what do you enjoy competing wise more, freestyle or Greco? What do you enjoy watching more?
Honestly, I like competing in Greco better. Just because it's something new and something a lot of people don't do. Talking to the coaches, we're trying to figure out seating and everything right now. We have to submit seating results, or I don't even know what we're supposed to do right now. We're getting like 3 or 4 emails every 15, 20 minutes about it. But just, it's a constant learning curve with Greco. Freestyle, it's something I've grown up with. Freestyle is, Moran had us training freestyle from, second grade on. For me, second grade on. And I didn't really get into Greco. I wrestled Greco at Fargo, but I didn't actually like get into high level Greco until, my junior year of high school. So I like the learning and competing of Greco, but if I'm just gonna tune into some random match, it's freestyle. Just because crazier stuff happens, and high level freestyle matches, you may get a 15 to 12 score. High level Greco matches, it's 5 to 3 at the highest. Something, unless someone gets a good gut wrench locked up and just keeps going, it's going 6 minutes, and there might be 10 points on the board between the two guys.
It's an interesting perspective of the challenge of learning. I can definitely appreciate that. It seems to be like you're kind of on the same page as me and a lot of people with the ability to enjoy just throwing on a freestyle match. I can't remember what 2 colleges were wrestling, but 2 colleges were wrestling folk style. And after watching so many freestyle matches over the past year, even my wife, she kind of learned freestyle first, because once we got married, or even when we were dating, and she started following along like friends and clients, it was all freestyle. And when she started following folk style, watching the rules and be like, wait, why isn't that a push out? Wait, why isn't that? It's funny. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. I'm going to let you go. I know you have a little bit of recovery. You have 1 day at home before you, maybe 2 before you get back out to Texas. Any final words?
Just watch on, I think it's on Flow or something. It's on somewhere.
I got the graphic out. You retweeted
it. It's going to be fun. Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So just come out, watch. It'll be fun. that's all I can really say right now. You know, shout out to everybody that helped me get here. You know, for everybody that's helped me get here.
Yeah, let's go. I'm pumped. I don't think much more needs to be said. Braxton, thank you for taking some time today. I know you just got home and you hopped on here, so thank you. Rooting for you this weekend. Have fun. Let it fly. And I'm sure this won't be your last time on the podcast.
Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. See you. For those listening, that was Braxton Amos, and we are now going to move into a conversation with Spartan Combat's Evan Henderson, who qualified for Olympic trials by winning the Last Chance Olympic Trials qualifier yesterday. So I saw you last night. You had all smiles, and I definitely want to talk to you about this weekend, obviously. But I'm curious about you because, number one, when I interviewed you after Summit 1, you seemed like you wanted to talk. And I told CENZO, I'm like, he's got to come on the podcast soon because I can tell he's got some stories.
Yeah.
And the more I kind of dig into your background, it's so interesting. We don't have to go all the way back, but I know that like last year you were basically looking for an RTC. You went to UNC, then you kind of bounced around different RTCs. What was the path that led you to Spartan Combat?
I mean, it's a long story. So like
we're here for it.
Just kind of short coming out of college was I had a job, like an assistant coaching job offered at Campbell University with Kerry Colat. So, and obviously he was my coach at UNC for 3 years.
Sure.
And then he not transferred. Then he took the job at Campbell.
He transferred. It's transferring for coaches.
He transferred. You know, so it was like a little bittersweet when he left, but like I still had that good relationship with him. And so I went there. I was an assistant coach there and still, you know, like I was training, but a little bit different capacity than what I wanted, than what I thought. And then who did he bring? He brought on Mike Evans. I got moved down just to be an RTC athlete. And then after a little bit, I was like, I needed more. I needed better. I need like, not that he was bad or anything there.
Yep.
It just needed a change, you know? And I even actually talked to Mike Evans the other day. He's like, yeah, that was probably the best decision you made for your wrestling was getting away from me and Kerry. Cause not that we were bad for you or anything like that. It was just getting away, and getting out and using your, just get out on your own. You don't have to have babysitters, you know? So, and then I went to Wisconsin and, don't want to no, you know, that was a crapshoot, you know. I like the guys, but as soon as I got there, Barry Davis resigned. And so the whole organization got changed overnight. And so I was only there for 6 months tops. And that kind of like, that was a struggle, you know. So I didn't have a place to train for that 2018 trials, because Bono got rid of everybody and was like, all right. And so I was training out this guy's garage, and I was wrestling with high school kids, and Nazar Plachinsky, he would come in with me too, but it was difficult. And then soon enough I got picked up by New York City RTC, and then I was there for 2 years until the pandemic, you know. And then that's when they kind of wanted to move on with the next quad, like regardless of what was going to happen. And then I was like sitting there, I'm like, oh crap, I'm out. I don't have an RTC. I don't have any type of living. Like I'm gonna have to go home, move home. And I did that.
And you're from what, PA, right?
Yeah, Western Pennsylvania. So actually probably like CENZO, where CENZO grew up. He like
Latrobe,
Pittsburgh. So I mean, I was always going down Latrobe anyway. Yeah. So I know he went to Vincenzo went to Pittsburgh Central Catholic, and I know a bunch of guys there. So.
I think Pletcher's Latrobe.
Pletcher's used to, yeah. So But I was home working with my dad and everything, and just kept calling people, and because I didn't really have a home, and during last year it was difficult trying to find a place because everything was on hold, freeze. Nobody was like as far as money, as far as housing, as far as this or that, or like training situations. Nobody was like, hey, we'd love to have you, but we can't do anything right now. So it was difficult. And then when I was moving out of Jersey City, where I lived at New York, I called Rob Cole that day, and he's like, well, do you need a place for your stuff to go? I got storage up here. You want to move up here? And it's like, he's going to keep going until he gets a yes. He never puts that no in your vocabulary. And it's like, and he just kept going and going. And sure, like a couple weeks later, I was up there, and I'm like, do you guys really actually want me? He's like, yeah, come on, get up here. We got a place for you, and he's obviously a UNC alumni, and he's known me for a while. He knows what kind of guy I am. And he was like, absolutely, come on up, so I was super thankful. That was one of the first things I said to him yesterday after everything. It's like, hey, thanks for giving me a shot to come up and train with you guys and give me a place. I really, really appreciate it. It especially from like a long journey from not qualifying in 2019. So.
And you can tell the camaraderie there, because I remember back when Flo was putting on the bracket challenges and Yanni was like, get Evan Henderson in this freaking thing. And you could tell the Cornell guys were like, guys, you don't understand how good he is. And that's even when I started to pay more attention, because I've been involved with Titan Mercury, and I've seen your name and seen like that. It's funny hearing the other side of the story, like watching you publicly and then hearing the back side of it, where it's like you need that stability, that consistency, and now you got it. And now look how you're performing. What was the biggest thing when you got to Spartan, aside from the stability or consistency? And maybe that is the biggest thing, but what was the biggest thing that you think once you got there that's really helped you elevate to where you are now?
I'm like, I mean, the way Mike treats everybody, it's like if you're in there training, you're basically one of these college guys. He doesn't treat me any different than any of these other guys. I don't get like no special treatment whatsoever. I got so regardless, I mean, I'm just thinking about all the guys on the team that's helped me and the guys I've been helping. It's like he's like, might as well treat you like a college guy. So I'm grinding every single day. It's hell on the body, but I mean, it's been working, so putting in those extra hours with the guys and it's like, how it's like you start getting older and some guys they'll take their foot off the gas pedal as far as their body goes. It's like Mike's not like that. Mike's got to try to kill you in practice, and that's what I think really, really helped. And plus he's so like he's a great tactician. It's like, go watch my semifinal match against Clark. I mean, that was all. He's like, this is what you're gonna do, and you stick to that, you're gonna be fine. Sure enough, I mean, tech the dude. Same way against Van Ness. We had a little game plan against Van Ness, and same thing. He's like, score early and often, and you're gonna beat him up. And sure enough, that was a tech in like 45 seconds. So
speaking of yesterday, you did look unbelievable. Shane Van Ness came out just like a bat out of hell and looked unbelievable. And then he runs into you, and he did almost get teched. He was down 8-0, I believe, and came back and won like 19-8. And you didn't give him that opportunity.
No.
Just straight, you ended it. What went into your prep for yesterday? I mean, to win, I think you wrestled 5 matches or 5?
Yeah,
it
was 5 matches.
It's no easy feat. I mean, I was talking to CENZO, who had to wrestle 6. And it's especially you guys who aren't used to wrestling that many matches in one day. He said he hadn't wrestled 6 matches in one day since middle school. So what went into the prep? Because this was a little bit different than what you've been used to, where you're on RTC cards or the Flow Bracket Challenge, stuff like that. But this was a bit different.
I mean, the prep is almost like college, waking up early, getting up and having to get the weight off in the morning and everything like that, and especially like trying to make weight. I mean, I didn't sleep the night before. I was just laying in bed all night.
How do you have energy if you're not sleeping at night? Adrenaline?
Yeah, I mean, like last night coming down off of everything, man, I'm sore. I'm so sore today, but a lot of coffee yesterday too. Not a lot, but enough to keep me going. And then just having that angst that like just want to go and get it done, and then trying to finish matches as fast as possible so you're not killing yourself later in the day. So the first 3 matches I had were techs, and then the fourth match was, I mean, it was a tech, but it took the whole time. But still, it wasn't as energy, like crazy flurries and all that stuff as the last match. But that's what you got to do.
Yeah, and when you're winning these matches, each one, were you able to kind of say, man, I just did good, or were you simply focused on winning the whole thing before you kind of looked back at any of the matches individually?
I sort of look at it as like, you just got to take one match at a time. Don't look forward, don't look back. Just like whatever happened, it's in the past, so it's the next match. Like it's like a QB throwing an interception. Short, like same thing. Even if you win or lose, you got to.
But I got to imagine the winning helps with the momentum.
Oh, yeah, it helps.
You tech Van Ness, who, looked great. That's got to give momentum into the next one.
Oh, yeah.
And so
yeah,
forth.
For sure. It's, it's like, I like, it's like, I don't necessarily like the cards, even though they're awesome, like the RTC cards, because it's like one match,
Yeah.
And if you go back and look through my college career and everything like that, I've done way better at tournaments where it's like you get the ball rolling and then that snowball effect, and then it's like, all right, try to stop me now, so that's sort of what I like to do. It's like I mean, going back to the Open in October, I don't like sitting a whole, like, you got to make weight the next day, or something like that. And then only having one match. I mean, I've done that a couple times, but it's like trying to get over that sort of mental hurdle with the RTC cards and getting some wins there. But like, obviously I like having that match after match, you get your ball rolling. It's like, you're not just in it for one, you got a couple. So.
Yeah, there's that consistency. Going even like the living situation consistency, and on the mat having that consistency of a couple of matches in a day, and it got to feel good. I saw pictures, a couple of videos of you after you were all smiles. How good did it feel to qualify for the Olympic trials?
Emotional, very emotional. There's like a lot of things flowing through my head at that point. It's like from I know. Mike Mall, he had a picture of me after I lost to Molinaro, and I was just laying on the cement slab, and like hands were up, and I was exhausted, and like I remember that, and it's like that was in 2019, December, and so it's been a while, and then you sat there and you trained your ass off for the Last Chance, and then it didn't happen, and then all this other stuff happened to me. So yeah, it was very, like, it was emotional. It was like, I was, blood pumping, I didn't come down off of that for a while. I mean, it wasn't until I got back here and just like got a shower, I was like, oh, wow. So.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this year is so unique, where it's like you went from literally, not you, but we as a community went from NCAA's 1 week to a Last Chance qualifier for Olympic trials the next week, and then the Olympic trials. You don't even have a month, 2 months, whatever, to prepare now for the trials and look at the field and say, who's in, who can I train for? Nothing. It's now you have 5 days and you're competing in Olympic trials. What's the perspective going from, and I know Nick Lee used the term chop wood, carry water, which I like a lot. What's your perspective qualifying last night? Now 5 days from this morning, you're in the gauntlet that is 65 kilos at the trials.
nothing really changes. I mean, it's like, got to make the weight. You've already, it's like, in my opinion, there's really nothing you can do between now and in trials that's going to make you that much better at wrestling other than your mindset and going out to try to be a killer. That's it.
Yeah.
And just take the momentum. I've already been down the weight. These other guys haven't. I know there's some big dudes at the weight and they're cutting their butts off to do it. They're going to be hurting. I'm going to be feeling pretty good. You know, I just made weight the week before.
And wrestled 5 matches at that weight.
And wrestled 5 matches. And it's like, that's a big conditioning thing too. Yeah. Like, you just wrestle 5 matches. It's like, there's no other, there's no other good way to condition for like tournament other than wrestling a dang tournament, you know. There's something about that. You have all that energy, all those goes. I mean, you can simulate it as much as you want, but there's nothing like it actually doing it, you know. So
yeah, there's nothing like it. And like you said, I've heard from a lot of guys that you try to simulate as many matches in the environment and the feel. And Seth Gross was on here about a month ago now, and he said, you know, unfortunately for him, the way his schedule worked, he wasn't going to get a tournament in before the trials. So all you can do is do your best to simulate matches, and especially in a year like this where, you know, you don't have the option. They couldn't go to the Last Chance Qualifier if they wanted, you know, if you're already qualified, you're not. So it's definitely an advantage on that end. And then, you know, as far as keeping yourself ready, I don't want to look too far ahead because the Olympic trials are this weekend, but it's also such an interesting year because then in a couple months we have the World Team Trials, and now qualifying for the Olympic trials, you're auto qualified for the World Team Trials.
Yeah,
so it's such an interesting year of just maintaining where you are. Have you given much thought yet to the World Trials and what you want to do post Olympic trials?
No, I really haven't. It's just,
I don't blame you. I'm just curious.
It was literally like, all right, let's get through this tournament. And then, so like, you got to think about it, even 65 itself, we are not qualified yet. So I'm sitting here and I was explaining my cousins were over the other day when I went home, and they were like, so what do you have to do to make the Olympics? And it's like, well, I got to go win this, and then I have to win this, and then I got to go over to Bulgaria and win that tournament or place in whatever it is, you know. It's like, and they kind of looked at me and they're like, whoa. I'm like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's wild. And that's why I'm curious, because it's like, you know, as much as you even want to potentially try to have a plan for the year, for whatever, you almost can't. Because if you go win the Olympic trials, make the Olympic team and medal, you're automatically on the world team.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's one of those things where I know for me, I'm a planner. I need to plan things out. So it's always just interesting to hear how people are reacting to like having that perspective of you can only plan so much.
So there, yeah. So what was it? The isn't there's an open at the end of this month.
At the end of April. Yeah.
End of April, right?
Yep.
And so I have a wedding plan, like not my wedding, but I'm going to Nazar Kaczynski's wedding.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, crap, if I don't win this thing, I can't go to his wedding. You know, there's a lot of things you can't do.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sitting here, but like, then again, if I go out and I win this thing next week, which, you know, if you can't beat them, pin them.
Yeah.
I can't go to that wedding anyway, because I got to go to Bulgaria to qualify the weight, you know? So it's like, chalk up my summer, and plus 8. If whoever makes it, let's say it's one of our guys, it's like, I'm going to be training with them. So it's like, I'm going to be on call for whoever, I mean, they're going to be on call, and whoever's up there with me, they're going to be on call for me when I make it, you know?
Yeah.
So plus probably have to do a tournament too. I don't know, like a ranking tournament and all that stuff. It's going to be, you can't really plan this. The last 2 years are going to be from last April all the way through till now, probably through the Olympics. You're not going to be able to schedule anything. Everything's going to be a couple weeks out, and that's how it's going to go. I mean, that's how it's been all this whole 2021. Hey, we're going to Florida to train. Hey, we're going to go do a card at UNC. Hey, we're going to go. Hey, you want to wrestle this guy? Yeah. You want to wrestle Zane? Yeah. You want to do? Yeah. I'm like, I'll say yes to it, you know? So.
Yeah. And you mentioned Zane, you know, you're in every weight at the Olympic trials is just so stupid. But, you know, talking about 65 kilos, that weight is so deep and has so much talent. And you got one of those guys in your room, Yanni. What's that like going into the Olympic trials where, again, this is more, I kind of understand it, but I also have no clue because I'm not a high-level athlete. Like, here is a guy you're training with, and now we don't know how the seeds are going to go. You could wrestle Yanni round 1, and only one of you even makes it out of the first round. Do you guys talk about that at all? Is it something you guys like? Not if we wrestle round 1, but just like, it's almost an elephant in the room, I gotta imagine, if teammates are in the same weight for like the trials. You know, it's not that you guys sit there and brainstorm about it together over tea. It's also not like you guys completely ignore it. I'm just curious what the dynamic is like.
It's like I put it to, like, if we wrestle, and whatever happens. But if we're in the same room training, it's like you gotta look at it. It's like I'm helping him, he's helping me.
Yeah.
And let's say one of us does it, there should be pride in that other person for
100%.
helping him get that, to achieve that, you know. And that's what I've talked to Mike about it, talked to Yanni about it, talked to Greg, Yanni's brother, about it, you know. I talked to his dad about it. It's just like, whatever happens, but like, you got to realize it's like, we're all this, we're in this together. One, first off, is like, okay, we have your individual basis. It's like your individual goal and stuff. And then you have your team. So Spartan, and then we have the US. So we want the US to be good, you know, and everything like that. And I'd put it to, like, it's just, it's not really about you so much. It's more about the United States and how much, like, if you're the guy, let's make you the best guy possible, you know. Whatever I can give Yanni, great, you know. Whatever he can give me, great, you know. That's only gonna make us better, you know.
Has that always been your perspective? Like, because you're obviously newer teammates with a guy like Yanni. Like you said, you just went to Spartan in July, and here you have that brotherhood type of mentality. Like, hey, if it's not me, it's you, and I'm gonna, you know, biblically speaking, iron sharpens iron. Like, I'm gonna help sharpen you, you're gonna help sharpen me. Has that always been your perspective of the brotherhood of a team? And what was that like coming to Spartan, where now you kind of have a new brother in that?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, there will be no animosity, no anything like that. It's like all positive based and pushing the envelope forward, you know. There's no like, oh, jealousy that he beat me or jealousy that I beat him, blah blah blah. It can't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. It has to be pushing, like, it has to be like, we're all in this together, and we're pushing it. We're trying to win gold medals regardless of who wins the actual medal, you know. Like 20 years from now, let's say one of us gets it done, it's like, it's not going to be like, oh, you want it. It's like, well, you kind of want it too, because you're the one helping me, you know. You know, it's like, I want to be, we probably want to be in the same situation if we didn't have each other, you know. And that goes for everybody in the room. Like, everybody in the room that's helped Kyle win gold medals, it's like, you know, it's like, it's not all on him. It's his team. It's the guys that are around him that were working out with him, you know. Same way with Yanni winning NCAA titles and Vito and all the, and like, these are just the couple guys that are going to trials, you know. That's what I think it should be. You know, it's not about the individual. It's more about the community pushing and making when the tide comes in, all the boats rise up. So
yeah, and I get that vibe. You know, I've had Mike on the podcast, Mike Gray, and I've had Gabe Dean on a couple times, and you can sense that camaraderie and that familyhood that I think is so special. And my one regret for not going to college was, I don't think I'm good enough to wrestle at college, but it would have been cool to be a part of the program. I wasn't that good in high school. It was still so cool to be part of that program. When you see other guys like Gabe now, here Gabe was freaking retired and just came out of retirement to make the Olympic trials. I got to imagine that too, day in, day out, kind of when you're having those bad days or weak days or dark days or whatever they might be, where, you know, it's like, do I really want to go that extra mile? I got to imagine that helps push you through as well.
Yeah, it does. Like, him coming back, it's like, he's just a workhorse. Holy crap.
That's what Yanni said. He's one of the toughest guys in the room.
He is the toughest guy. He's like, just the stuff he does. It's like, I remember going to one of the first couple of weeks we went lifting, and he's like putting up 500 pounds doing something. I'm like, what is this guy made of? You know, how are these guys that strong? And it's like, you're retired? Dude, you're good enough. This was before he kind of like really pushed his way back. Like, he's
Sure.
like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm like, you're good enough. And then especially having like the match with David Taylor, I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy.
He was right there with them.
No, like we kind of joked afterwards. I think it's like, man, if you had like a couple more inches on your arms, I mean, you'd be set, you know. But
yeah, well, that's awesome. Any final words for us before I let you go?
No, just go Spartan RTC. We're bringing a group. You know, we got I think 5 guys right now. Yeah,
so. and good guys. I tweeted out this morning on Twitter, like, who's going to have more on the Olympic team, Spartan or the NLWC? Because you both have some amazing talent at the trials, and there's guys that on both sides that can make that team. So it's going to be so interesting. Everybody listening, go follow Evan. His journey is pretty cool. He's at Hendo65kg on Instagram. Are you the same on Twitter too?
I don't have a Twitter.
Dude, you got to get on Twitter, man. That's where all the fun is.
Right. Now, everybody's been saying get on Twitter, and so like I had a Twitter way back, and then I got rid of it, and then I just never got back onto it, you know. So, but
I say get on it for the brand side of things.
Yeah.
Twitter can be a disaster, a dumpster fire of commentary, but from a brand building side, it could be cool. So
it is. No, it definitely is. That's what I've been like working on. I do need to, like, I have a website. I got some other stuff, but I need to get really homed in on that stuff for obviously through the rest of my wrestling career and afterwards. So
yeah, I mean, no matter what happens next week, you go make the Olympic team, that stuff's important. If you don't make the Olympic team, camp and clinic season's around the corner. It's still important. So no matter what, like, it's so important for wrestlers to have that presence, especially nowadays. Everybody's going to tag you and post highlights.
I will say, so it depends on what happens next weekend. I mean, I might be very busy or I might have some time. You never know, but I'm always down to teach. So
yeah. So
what's some interesting stuff?
If anybody make the team or not, best way if somebody wants to have you at a camp or a clinic, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
So either hit me up through Instagram or Facebook. If you can find me there, and or I have a website, hendersonwrestling.com, and you can drop in an email there too. Pretty easy. Let me see. I don't know if you've been on my website. It's not very much right now. I'm still working on it a little bit, but
I'm going on it right now. Listen, the fact that you have a website, you're already ahead of so many. So you can always upgrade a website, but I think it looks good. Did you build this yourself?
Yeah.
That's impressive, dude. I build them for a living, and I can say that this is impressive. So
now, there's some things I want to change about it, because I like look on your stuff, and I looked on a lot of other little athletes and stuff, and just trying to get the basics, like how much do I need? Do I don't need this much? I mean, I got shop technique, you know. So
it looks good. I like it. Are those shirts still for sale?
Yeah, I still have.
So that's another thing. Go to hendersonwrestling.com and get a Hendo 65 Kilo Tokyo shirt. What is that logo?
So it's the Keystone, but like,
got it.
So it was actually like so if you go look at the Heinz, I actually I made that logo too. And so, but it kind of looks like the Heinz ketchup logo.
I like it.
I originally had some of the font from the Heinz logo. It was just a little difficult. If I had got with somebody a graphic designer, I would do it. Next one might come out a little different, but like, obviously I did the red for Cornell, but if I do another set with maybe a little bit different design in the middle, it'd be black and gold because Pittsburgh.
I also love that the copyright says copyright 2023 in the footer of the site. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right, guys.
I think that's how long I have the what's it called too.
Registered through.
Yeah, registered through that. Yeah. So
that's great. Awesome. Thank you for making some time to hop on today. Everybody
no
listening, go give him a follow. Go hit up the website, hit him up for camps and clinics. You see that he's a highlight reel, so have him out to your school. And I will see you soon, man. Best of luck this weekend.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. See you, man. And that is it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple. Tag us on social media. Let me know what you think. Tag Evan, tag Braxton. Let them know what you think. CENZO will be back next week. And don't forget, Manscaped. Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Promo code CENZO for free shipping and 20% off a lawnmower 3.0. Grab a weed whacker. Those things are great too. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy this episode, send it to a friend, send it to somebody else who's going to enjoy it. Let's keep getting the wrestling community on board with this podcast. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day.
Oh, yeah.